is Not Sam Wrestling.
Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
We're here at the WWE Performance Center with the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. Pete, what's the haps, man?
Not much, mate. How are you?
I'm great, but I don't have anything on my shoulders. I don't have to sit there and be like, hey, I'm representing this brand that's going to USA. You seem pretty good with it, though.
Yeah, to me, it's in a sense, is business as usual. Like I've got to see such a broad spectrum of this company and wrestling in general. Handling in a life where you're doing the independents, you're popping in doing the Royal Rumble, you're doing NXT, you're doing NXT UK. Having that whole broad spectrum. I've been lucky enough to be in these high pressure environments regularly, and I was thrown in at the deep end to begin with.
Yeah.
So to me, it's I'm well aware of how huge this is, and I'll be able to pinpoint this as a very important moment. But also, this is what we do. It's what I trained for. I spent 15 years getting to this point, so let's bring it on. Let's do it.
Yeah. I guess. And I guess you've had such a taste of everything since that first UK Championship tournament that it's just been like, what's next,
Day
right?
one, me and Tyler especially, were just thrown in at the deep end. So
Yeah.
We don't know what this is yet, but just go, make it good.
Yeah,
Okay.
for a lot of people, it's just like, here's just a display of talent. And they're like, no, you guys have an angle. Like, you guys were actually, doing a thing with.
And I have to thank William Regal for that. He's the guy that said, these are the two, right? So since that day, I've learned to I remember the day I signed my contract, I had my moment of okay, all those goals that I set, I've done it, and now it's just, keep the same work ethic, and just things are going to present themselves, and they have done since then. It's been one thing to the next, and the 3 years feels like I've lived 10 lives, but at the same time, it feels like 10 seconds.
Right, no, I totally get that. Especially so your goals are completed in wrestling. I mean,
In terms of goal setting, I like to say I'm done with that. Because I don't have anything in mind of I want to achieve this, I want to do this. However, of course, I want to be on a WrestleMania, I wanted to be in the Royal Rumble, I wanted to, in these things, I'm confident that as long as I keep the same work ethic and the same approach to this job, this is the job that I'll do for a very, very long time, and I'm going to enjoy it the whole way.
And I'm assuming that'll just keep growing too. When you get to this plateau, you'll be like, well, now I want to get to that one.
And today is the best example of that, right?
Yeah.
Today is the day where we're going 2 hours on USA and same old NXT, but we're putting it out there to way more people. And it's moments like that at the time you need to feel the gravity of it. I'm well aware of same like the first UK takeover or takeover Chicago where we know this is a big deal. Let's do it. Let's go out there and kill it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, in terms of goal setting, if you had come to me a year ago and I was like, what are your goals? And you were like, well, I want NXT to be on USA 2 hours every week and in prime. I'd be like, okay, Pete. But
sort of
this is how it happens.
Dreams that we didn't know we had is the mad, is the
Yeah.
mad way to put it, because I didn't. The format here was not always, but over the last few years has been, you get signed and you spend some time here and you get on some live events and you show what you can do, and then they put you in TV, so on, main roster, WrestleMania, where we go. Whereas for me, it was never that. For me, it was picked up from the independents within a month. So I had a tryout within a month. I was signed and out there on TV live, which rarely happens. As a featured performer, and then from there, it's just been okay. Well, we'll bring you to the US as well, and then NXT UK became a thing. Now we have a performance center back there, and all these things I never could have set as goals.
Of course.
But as soon as they present themselves, I'm like, right, we want that. Let's do that. Let's make that good. So that's kind of the best way to approach it I've found, is just to focus on your own work ethic and just let things play out.
What was the biggest sort of not wake-up call, but what was the biggest culture shock type moment when you got here and you were like, oh, that's the way we do this, or that's what this experience is like?
So there's been loads of them in terms of a technical standpoint of wrestling where, you think you've got it worked out, and then you're like, oh, that changes everything, right? Sitting in there with Shawn Michaels reviewing your matches, what world are we living in where 5'10" kid from Birmingham and Shawn Michaels is saying, I really like this, but what about this? And then I'm like, oh, okay, that changes everything. But just on a day-to-day level, every time I walk in here, especially when I'd walk in with Trent and Tyler and Wolfgang and Mark when we'd spend 4 weeks here, and we look around and think, oh, I wish we had this in England. This is amazing, but we never had anything like this, and now we do. So again, it's just one thing to the next, just keep the ball rolling. It's a blast.
When you lost the UK championship, because you had it for so long, and that really was, you were synonymous with it. That was your identity. It was your identity. That was you. Did you have this feeling of oh, well, what's after this? What's next? This was kind of my thing.
Yeah, so in a way, I'm sad to see that end and that go, but in another way, like, it's an opportunity to not reinvent myself and be the same person, but obviously I don't want my career to be defined as one title run being my career. I want to come out here and I want to be able to, get into matches with Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole, whoever else, and having that title, not that it ever limited me, it gave me way more, but obviously that was my focus, whereas now it's completely open, anything can happen, and that's an exciting prospect.
And there is part of like holding that title, no matter how many shows you did, it was like, oh, he's here from NXT UK, and now you're able to kind of freely go like, I'm in NXT.
Well, so a lot of times today I've been asked, are you based here? What are you doing? Have you moved here? And like, I like to point out, like, it's for me, it's not that different because I've done so much stuff over the last few years.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's ever really been. I don't feel like I was ever pinned down to one. But obviously, walking around with that title says NXT UK, which is something I'm massively proud of, and we've built. And if there's one thing, if my career stopped today, I'd be very proud that that's what I'm remembered for. Mm-hmm. But also, I'm 25 and I want to do this for a lot longer.
Crazy,
and I don't want to be remembered as one title run, right?
Yeah, it's so crazy that you're only 25 too, because it's like, I mean, on one end, it's like, oh, what do I do now? I've accomplished all these goals, but realistically, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, I've only got to fill another 20 years. So.
Yeah. So, did you move to the States?
Yeah, kind of. So I have a house back in England, obviously, and then I'm now moved out here. Got my own place here while TV's happening. So I'm between the two.
But how amazing is that? That wrestling has already brought you to a place where you're like living in two countries with two places.
Especially for my family. Like, I got a baby that's growing up between two continents, just seeing both sides of the world, and it's amazing. Do you know what I mean? And again, this is why I don't like to get too caught up in I want this, I want that, because again, if I'd have wrote my list of goals, would I have said that I'm going to have a place back home, a place here, and my baby's going to be born and she's going to be going between the two, and then even when she was born, I was doing war games 20 hours before. I was up on the cage in LA. 24 hours later, I'm in Birmingham with a baby on my arm. So you just can't write this stuff. You can't plan it out. You just got to enjoy it and take it for what it is.
Where's the kid going to go? Is it a boy or girl?
Girl.
Where's she going to go to school?
I don't know yet. We'll cross that bridge.
Figure that out. Who knows what'll be happening then?
Right?
How old is she?
She's 10 months.
Oh, okay. So you got a few years. Who knows what? I mean, 2 years ago, who would have thought what was going on?
With the States, or who knows what happened with NXT UK? There might be a deal similar to this back there. Again, we just don't know.
We have no idea. So just ride the wave.
Yeah, just planning stuff out just makes you start feeling like, what if? Don't worry about that. Just enjoy it for what it is. Because
so far it's been going all right.
So fast.
Yeah. Do you feel like you give yourself time to kind of collect yourself and go like, okay, let me really take note of everything that's happened here?
So there's two sides to that one, because there's, in a sense, I beat myself up because sometimes I'm not present enough, but then at the same time, I think the reason I can perform at the level that I do is because I don't let stuff like that get to my head. Do you know what I mean? So it's a catch-22 where I definitely need to take more time to think about how cool it is with stuff we've done. The time I do it most is when I do these interviews, where you have to start actually like,
oh yeah, that did happen, yeah.
But at the same time, I think I want to do that at the end of my career, and then while I'm in the moment, I want to be able to go to TakeOver. And a lot of people always say to me, like Matt Bloom always makes a joke to me, like, you nervous, Pete? I'm like, because he knows that I never show a single nerve, because I genuinely don't feel one. I just don't let that get into my head, and it's just have fun with this. Let's go out there and do it.
That's awesome, man. Well, I mean, it's so cool that you guys are all in the position that you're in, and it's awesome to watch.
Thanks, man.
Congrats on everything, dude. Thank you for your time.